Welcome back, everybody. Sarcasm Speaks. Jared and Bob here. This is the time of year where it's also the time of year. So I was going to talk about football for a second, but it's also the time of year where people start getting wild for fantasy football. But that aside, it is that time of year, right? Where football is kind of back. Training camps have started, right? The Hall of Fame game is this Thursday, which is actually the day this podcast comes out. So if you're listening to it the day of, it's tonight. Then I think there's 2 weeks, and then there's the first week of the preseason, because they always do the Hall of Fame game a little ahead of time. And then now with only 3 weeks of a preseason instead of 4, times have shifted, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's here. It's back finally. I think we had, was it 27 weeks or something like that? No, that feels like too many
I mean,
without football.
if you count the Hall of Fame game as like the return, it's just under 6 months
Okay.
because the Super Bowl is usually like, I don't know, like the 10th or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it is 27 weeks if you account for
Well, 6 months.
Super Bowl
Six
to like
months is
regular season.
4.33. Yeah, so I mean 6 months exactly is 26 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think
I
probably
believe
from,
I believe 27 weeks.
yeah, so from Super Bowl to opening kickoff, like opening weekend, not like fuck the preseason, right? Excluding the preseason, it's about 27 weeks. So we're almost there.
Should be more than that. Should be 30 something. But anyway,
Well, there's 20,
because it's like 7. Because so that's almost like exactly 7 months.
there's 23 weeks, I think, in the NFL season, right? Because there's 18 regular season weeks. Then you have the wild card, the divisional, the conference, then the Pro Bowl, then the Super Bowl. So that's 23, right? There's 52 weeks in a year. How's this for sarcasm does math?
It'd be like 31 weeks to opening day.
Okay. That makes a little bit more sense.
I think this week is 27 weeks.
Okay.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
So then it is probably 27 weeks until any football, right?
Yeah.
So from the Hall of Fame game. So
We're
it's
close.
about
We're
31.
close. I mean,
Yeah,
I know
we're really close, right? It's the best fucking time of the year. Like, when it comes to sports, in my opinion, October is probably the best month of the year because NFL is in full swing, college football is in full swing. October in college football, you also get some sneaky good matchups. That's when they start to play like the division games. They get past like Alabama playing like the Perkins School for the Blind in week 2, right? Like that's just ridiculous. Like you start to get some real games in October. The NBA starts up, the NHL starts up. Not that I'm a basketball guy, but like just the fact of the matter that the NBA is around. And then you also get playoff baseball, right? Again, not that I'm a big baseball guy, but I will say that playoff baseball is a little bit different. It's kind of like playoff hockey, right? I would say playoff hockey and baseball kind of sits in its own realm of like just really fun to watch, to be around. So yeah, I mean, October, you get great weather in New England typically, right? I mean, if you play the law of averages, right? I mean, I think last year the average temperature in October was like 79 degrees, but typically I think it's pretty solid in New England. It's just great, right? And we're getting there. I think when this comes out, it's August 1st, right? So we're closing in. We're getting through the dog days of summer. We're getting closer to fall, which I know we've talked about this before, is the superior season. In a place like this where we're lucky enough to have seasons.
What It's lucky enough.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
if there's another way to live. What was the tweet I sent you? It was like, I think summer was a conspiracy theory because it was the
Yeah.
only because summer was our only free time
Growing
growing
up.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone was conditioned to think that it's good, but the season like actually fucking sucks.
The actual season of summer fucking sucks. It's way too hot all the time. Um, Pollen is crazy, right? So your allergies suck. Um, yeah.
Plus, hey, remember though, it's not actually the heat that gets you;
Yeah, right.
it's
It's the
it's the
humidity.
humidity.
Well, I had this as a talking point that we just didn't get to over the last couple weeks, but now that it's coming back, um,
The humidity.
yeah, not only just the humidity, but what does it for me is the nighttime temperatures, right? So like I can handle 100 degrees during the day, right? Like that doesn't bother me, right?
Dry or
When
wet.
I don't care. And when it's 100 degrees, realistically, it doesn't matter, right? Like all those people are like, oh, it could be 110, but dry. And it's totally, hey,
Yeah,
man,
it's cold.
when it's 110 degrees and it's a dry heat and you go
It's cold.
outside, it's still really fucking hot. So don't give me the, oh, well, it's dry. So it doesn't, no, it doesn't matter whether it's humid or dry. When it's 100 degrees, it's 100 fucking degrees. It's hot.
You haven't asked a dude from Charlestown who's never
Yeah.
left fucking
Yeah,
Massachusetts
exactly.
about that. He'll tell you dry heat's cold.
So I actually don't mind when it gets to be like almost 100 degrees during the day, right? Like that's fine. Like again, I don't mind the heat. The extreme heat is fine. What really pisses me off is when at night it's like 78 degrees because then you don't get any relief, right? And you're like, well, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing? Right? Like, this is just a personal thing, right? This has nothing, no bearance on anything really, other than this is just my opinion, man. But like I like to be able to like open up the windows at night on the house and like wake up the next morning and yeah, it's a little cool. It's chilly, right? You get the fresh air and it's, it's nice. No, you can't do that in like where we were like 2, 3 weeks ago for like a week and a half to 2 weeks straight, where the coldest it got at night was 78 degrees. It was just insane, right? And it's like, what the fuck are we doing here? You wake up in the morning, I take the dog out at like 6:30 in the morning and it's 81 degrees. I'm like, oh, cool. So today's gonna suck, right? Like it's already 81 degrees. Like I remember this vividly. This was like probably a week and a half ago. I took Pickett outside in the morning and I walked outside and I was like, ooh, it's chilly. And I came back in, I said something to Amy, and I go, today is the first day that I took Pickett outside in like 2 weeks where I was like, well, it's kind of cold out in the morning, right? Like realistically, it was probably like 67 degrees, right? But it hadn't been we hadn't seen 60s in at least 2 weeks. So like 67 like felt chilly, right? And I was like, this is nice. Like I like that. Like I like when it cools down at night. Again, so maybe I'm just built for the desert, right? Like I can handle 110 during the day, but then it gets down to like 55 at night. Like that's
Yeah,
perfect for me.
the only problem is like
I shouldn't say perfect. Perfect is really like a nice 78 degrees and
I would say
sun.
San Diego's
And
perfect.
then, yeah, San Diego. That is perfect. 78 degrees in sun during the day and then like 58 at night, right? Like that's somewhere between 55 and 60 at night. Like that's perfect weather. And that is typically what we get in New England in October. So really looking forward to that. But I digress severely from my original talking point about football and football being back, uh, and it being the best time of the year. I don't know. There really isn't anything like watching football for me, right? Like I don't know. Like I love hockey, right? But we've talked about it before, and the fact of the matter is with YouTube TV and whatever streaming service you have, right? Or I personally have YouTube TV, so I don't get Ness, so I can't watch Bruins games during the regular season. I can catch like the occasional Saturday night game that's on the national, if it's TNT or TBS, whatever the fucking national one is. Sometimes it's on ESPN, I think. You might be able to get like a random Tuesday, Wednesday night national game. But I can only watch the Bruins when they play national during the regular season. So over the last couple of years, like it's kind of lost a little bit of its shine for me. I do still love hockey. It is my second favorite sport. And when it comes to playoff hockey, like I watch, right? Like I watch playoff hockey, but it's lost a little bit for me just because I can't watch during the regular season. Like, on like a random Thursday night when there's nothing on TV, like I can't just put the Bruins on because I don't get fucking Nesson, right? So, um, but so again, to me, football being back is like, here we go. It's fucking go time. We're getting good, right? Things are it's all uphill from here, right? However, I just fed you all of that positivity, right? Well, in classic sarcasm speaks fashion, now I have to hand you the fucking negative side of it. However, because we can't have nice things and we can't be too positive on this show, I cannot fucking stand all of the training camp talk when it comes to the NFL season, right? I get it. We just went 27 weeks with no football. I understand everyone is depraved, right? They just want to talk about something, right? Like, oh, I got to talk about football. It's back. Training camp is here. I don't give a shit what Drake May, what his stats were in 7-on-7 drills. Oh, looking tough out there today. He was 3 of 9 with 1 interception. I don't think there's anything that I care about less than a stat line from a training camp practice. So you get all these guys, and it happens in the fantasy world too, because I listen to a couple of fantasy football podcasts, especially now, right? That we get back into, that it's the time of year. Like
I think
they
I'm 4 years entering my fifth season clean. I believe 2020 was my first year clean of fantasy football.
5 years sober. Um,
Not quite complete with the fifth, but we'll
right,
get
right.
there.
But yeah, we're getting there. You'll get your chip.
I like that. It's almost like the Stop and Shop pension
Yeah.
chip or whatever they gave you.
Yeah. Um, but I can't deal with it. It's all over Twitter. The one thing I will say is the main fantasy football podcast that I listen to is the fantasy footballers. Um, they're really good. They also kind of are on the same page where they're not as insufferable as I am about it. I don't think anyone really is besides you. um,
Listen, I've washed my hands of fantasy football.
yeah, no, I just
So
mean like in general. I think we probably should have named this like the insufferable hour or something instead of sarcasm speaks or whatever.
yeah, it's
But
pretty well. Yeah,
um,
I
but
was gonna say it's not like a book where you can have like a subtitle on the front.
yeah, yeah. Um, but
Two of the most insufferable hours of your week.
they they're pretty good. They say they don't put a ton of stock in like the training camp stuff. They acknowledge that like a lot of it is overhyped, but
Well,
it's just too much. It's
so
too much for me.
there used to be some stuff that you could take away, right? You used to be able to like what was I listening to? Well, it was the Matt Light conversation with
Oh yeah. Which,
Edelman or whatever.
not to be a podcast that talks about another podcast, but like, is that not potentially one of the greatest podcast episodes ever? If to caveat, if you're a New England sports fan and you're between the ages of like 27 and 50, like that might be like one of the greatest podcast episodes that's
So
ever been done.
again, I just to put a bow on it. Matt Light, first of all, his his impression of Belichick was so good.
It's fantastic. Matt Light is like one of my new favorite people.
But I gotta be honest, incredibly stupid episode because it's supposed to be about some game in Buffalo in 2010 that no one
Yeah.
gives a fuck about.
And they never
And
talk
instead,
about
Matt
it.
Light's just talking about like Matt Light stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like they kept trying to cut in about the game, and it's like, dude, no one cares about the game.
Right. Right.
You clinched a division again.
Yeah,
Like no
I
one
think
gives a
when they went
shit.
to score it, Matt Light was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I'd give it like a 3.4 or something." He was like,
Yeah,
it's whatever."
stupid. Um, but he made a good point, like about lack of pads, lack of practice, lack of reps, all that stuff.
Right. Right.
So these things are just like glorified fucking dress rehearsals now. They're all running around like the Great Gazoo in fucking shorts.
Yeah, like the video of the Jacksonville Jaguars that I sent you in
Yeah, that
the
was
Twitter
stupid.
group. I was like, that is the dumbest shit ever. Like, we didn't even do dumb shit like that in high school, right? When we had Atkins as our coach, that made us do a lot of really dumb shit.
And so it's like even now, like even then you couldn't take a lot out of training camp, but even now you can take even less.
Yeah, it means nothing.
So I don't know. And then even like last year, like Tom Curran was talking about how good Mac looked. How did that work out?
Yeah, exactly.
But now people will still they'll be like, oh, well, I thought Tom Curran said it. It's like, who gives a flying fuck what Tom Curran says? He said Mac Jones looked good in the preseason last year.
Yeah.
And that guy got his ass benched for Bailey Zappi halfway through the fucking season.
Yeah. Who isn't even going to make the team this year?
What a fucking joke. So, yeah, like I don't know how anyone like even gets behind. Like the only piece of info that I've actually found relevant so far is that the Caden Wallace has been like taking a lot of snaps with the ones at left tackle because I know I sound like a fucking broken record and I bring it up every time. I don't
But
know who the fuck is playing left tackle for this team.
hey, people forget this team doesn't have a left tackle,
Yeah, people forget. It's like I'm still wondering who's going to play that position.
which is probably the second most important position on the football team behind quarterback. It's
And
quarterback and then left tackle.
but it's also like left tackle is so important, or I guess offense. It's really offense. It's all five guys on the offensive line, but
Right.
I strongly believe that four of them are fine.
Yeah.
But if you have no offensive line and your quarterback sucks, then you are like going to be the worst team in the league. But if you have a decent offensive line, they can cover for a lot.
Right.
And if you put this offensive line in front of Pat Mahomes, he'll still make the playoffs, but like they're going to get bounced.
Exactly.
And I'm sitting here as a fan that's somewhat informed. Like I know generally most of the players on the roster.
Yeah.
And as a fan who is paying attention, I can't tell you who the left tackle is. I'm sorry, but that scares the shit out of me.
I just had to look up who Caden Wallace was. I didn't even know
He was a
he was
draft
there.
pick.
He was their third round pick
And
this
then
year. Yeah.
like Okorafor was
Because I
the
know
guy.
Chucks. Yeah, it was Chucks Okorafor. Yeah, he's going to be a
Like
left tackle.
that's another one. I can't believe that shit. The guy's a right tackle and or like backup swing tackle. And he's
Yeah.
gonna be your starting left tackle?
Yeah.
4.5 wins doesn't sound that good at this rate.
Who got cut from Pittsburgh? Who?
Yeah, I think
if
they also cut him because he started like 3 consecutive years, like at each game for 3 straight years or something. And it was
Yeah,
something
but
close. And then they paid him.
the Pittsburgh offensive line has been garbage trash for a while.
Yeah.
So he's been a part of that line that's been trash.
He's a backup, but he was
Yeah.
getting paid as a starter. So I think
Right.
that's why he gets cut.
Yeah.
But if those are the facts of the case, then you're telling me that you're gonna trot out an NFL lineup in your left tackle, which you did not draft until the third round.
Right.
You did not sign. You did not keep anyone internally, which I agree with. So you did nothing at arguably the most important position in the sport.
Right.
So no, I don't want to hear about the fucking team. I don't want to fucking hear about how Jalen Polk caught a ball while wearing shorts.
Oh yeah,
Like
didn't you know Jalen Polk is the new CD Lamb?
CD Lamb, why not? Why isn't he Justin Jefferson?
Yeah.
Why isn't he like Justin Jefferson with the catching ability of Wes Welker and the hot route ability of peak Randy Moss?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like the ability to body people like Terrell Owens. Like, I mean, if we're doing this, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's just a New England thing. Obviously, I've never lived anywhere that's not New England, so I haven't really followed other team sports. But I wonder if it's just a New England thing where like the beat writers just blow these guys way out of fucking proportion, right? Like when they talk about Jason Tatum as like, oh, he's kind of moves just like Jordan, right? Or no, he's Kobe and Jaylen Brown is Jordan, right? They compare Jaylen Brown to Michael Jordan and they compare Tatum to Kobe. And it's like, all right, guys, how about you pump the fucking brakes? Because neither one of those guys is like any of the other two that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know what other I don't know what other cities media. Obviously, I've never lived anywhere
Yeah.
and I've never really like, asked anybody, but I got to imagine New York, Philly. I'd say New York and Philly, they're probably like the next most passionate fan bases. They've got to be way tougher than we are.
Yeah. I don't think they pump their guys up like we do.
I don't think so. I doubt it.
I actually think Philly is, in particular, is just a city full of hatred when it comes to sports. I think they hate everything and everyone. They hate their own team, right? Like they boo their own teams all the time.
They boost Santa.
They booed Santa. That is true.
They also may have thrown batteries at Santa. I could be making that part up. Um, yeah, and then it's like I'm not gonna like DC isn't as big of a sport.
Yeah.
LA does not have the fans.
No, no.
I don't know. Are there any other big markets I'm missing?
Chicago.
Um, yeah, I don't think Chicago. So Chicago probably plays a much more neutral, like they're not going to outwardly hate their players like New York and Philly, but they're also probably not going to call Caleb Williams, you know, the next
Michael Vick.
Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like perhaps that they'll just watch and say, he had an up and down practice today. Made some good throws and made some really shitty ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see how he continues to progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if other sports cities like fantasize like seems like the wrong word, but like dramatize.
Yeah. They gas them up, right? Like they pump them up, gas them up,
Yeah.
whatever kind
And
of
then we
stupid
end and
cliche you
and
want to
then
use.
everyone wonders why we end up hating these people.
Yeah.
Like people wonder why like no one wants to see like or it's like why people were happy to see Jaylen Brown win the MVP and not Tatum. It's like because all you people do is talk about how Tatum is better than he is.
Right. Right.
And it's like, unfortunately, I'm a Boston fan and I don't watch the Celtics. So it's like I actually found it absolutely hysterical that he did not win
Yeah.
Finals MVP. And if they win another title in like 2 years from now, like I hope he doesn't get it then. And I hope that guy never wins a regular season MVP. And it's
Yeah.
like, what? Why are you why are you like that? I don't know. I don't know why I'm like this. Like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah.
do anything to me.
No, no, it's just like to go against the grain.
Well, I do. But I'm also like, if you guys just said like, hey, he's turning into like a really good player. Like we like some of
Yeah.
these things, and
You can call him a top
he
10 player in the NBA.
yeah, but
Be
even
like,
that,
be like,
yeah.
yeah,
So, hey, if it's like, hey, he's a borderline top 10 player in the NBA. It's like, okay,
yeah,
yeah, he is. You could probably make an argument that he's anywhere from 8 to 12.
yeah. Yeah.
And
So I
actually,
mean,
I
if you
don't.
want to say he's a borderline top five, right? Like I think he's solidified. Again, I'm not a
Here's the thing: I
basketball
don't
guy,
watch basketball, so I don't know if
but
he's
I think he's very
6, 7, 8.
solid. I think he's solidly in the top 10, but you could probably call him a borderline top five.
Yeah, and I think some of the other guys are starting to like kind of work their way out too.
Yeah.
Like he's obviously better than like a Westbrook, a Harden, a Paul George, a
Right.
Kawhi. Like
Yeah.
those guys are starting to make their way out. So yeah, he probably is moving towards top
Yeah.
5. But yeah, I mean, you guys talk about them like turn fucking water into wine. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's also probably the Bruins fan in me.
I think that could be it too. I think deep down at your core, like both of us, and I would include Jones in this too. Like at the for the three of us at our core, we are Bruins fans, right? Like when I started as a child, like I was a Bruins fans first, right?
Yeah, I was
Because
a
every
Bruins
other
fan
team
before a
sucked.
Patriots fan.
Every other team sucked. Like the Bruins were at least halfway decent, right? Like growing up. So the Red Sox all like the Red Sox were hated. People forget, like people forget.
People forget.
People really do forget how hated the Red Sox were in this city. Like the amount, because all they did was just let you down every single year. They just ripped your fucking heart out. Bill Buckner letting that ball go between his legs in 86. Um, like the year in 99 where Pedro was an absolute fucking monster, but the rest of the team just couldn't get it together. Oh, 03, Aaron fucking Boone, right? Like they made it all the way to game 7 in the ALCS, and Aaron fucking Boone hits the home run. It's like the Grady Little thing in the game. Oh, he left him in too long. Like people fucking hated the Red Sox because every single year it was the same thing. It was they're either going to suck and not make the playoffs or they'll make the playoffs and then choke, right? It was never ever a thing. Um, the Patriots were the doormat of the
Well, the thing is,
NFL
they were never good.
until the 90s, right? Then in the 90s, they made the Super Bowl and they got absolutely shellacked by Green Bay, right? And then it was
Desmond
like,
Howard, 2 return touchdowns.
yeah. And then it was like they really kind of didn't do much until 2001,
Yeah, but that was
right?
only 5 years.
Right, right. But like I'm talking about like in the 90s when we were growing up, right? It was like, the Celtics were bad, right? Like
It was awful.
everyone hated the Red Sox, but the Bruins were like halfway decent, right? Like they weren't awesome, but they were at least kicking around. I mean, they had Thornton, right? Was he drafted in 95?
If I had to guess, I would say 96.
96? Yeah, that sounds right.
But yeah, I mean, we're in the same realm here.
So, and I mean some of those early teams, right? It was Thornton, Samsonov.
Jason Allison,
Yeah.
Aaron Defoe,
Yeah, Byron Defoe, right? Like
TJ Axelson,
those teams were fun, right? So
Ryan Ralston.
Brian Ralston, yeah,
He came a little bit later. He
yeah,
wasn't like a late 90s.
he was
Because
in
I'm
the
pretty sure he won some
2000s.
championships with the Devils first,
Yeah,
right? It was Brian Ralston.
yeah. Um, so yeah, I think that's probably what it is, right? At our core, we're Bruins fans, and all Bruins fans hate the Bruins. They love hate the Bruins.
Well, because it even because the real like Bruins hate goes before us because it's too many men. It's losing to the Canadians. It's the lights going out in the Garden. It's
Right.
Cam Neely's knee. It's
Yeah.
20 years of Ray Bork couldn't win. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's probably it. But I think at its core, I'm happy football is back, but get the fuck out of here with your training camp storylines. Like I really don't care. Right? Like I don't care about the stats. I don't care about, oh, this guy's not suiting up. He wants a new contract. Listen, man, these guys don't wear pads, like you said, or like Matt Light said too. Like it doesn't matter if the guy is out there wearing a helmet with the goofy fucking great kazoo thing on the top of his helmet, the helmet on top of the helmet, right? Like, because they're just wearing shorts and t-shirts, right? Like they're not, and especially Judon, he's a defensive lineman. ain't doing anything. They're running 7-on-7s. I mean, like it's Judon. Oh, he's not suiting up. He wants a new deal. What are we gonna do? I don't know, dude. They're gonna fucking pay him, right? They're gonna figure something out. And if they don't, he won't play. Okay, your team sucks anyway. Like,
It really doesn't matter.
yeah, it really doesn't matter. Oh, Christian Gonzalez looks great. Yeah, man, I'm sure he's gonna be a fine player, but the rest of this team, not good. They don't have a left tackle, like you said. The quarterback is a rookie, and he might not be that good because, again,
And the receivers are seriously TBD.
yeah, yeah. Because again, like I said on this very show, however many months ago, do not draft the quarterback from UNC. I don't want the quarterback from UNC. Take Marvin Harrison Jr. But they took the quarterback from UNC. So enjoy sucked them for another 3 years. But I don't know what else we got going on. Anything? Oh yeah, this is sports related. This came up the other day. Again, just to pile on the hate, right? I just feel like Emperor Palpatine here. Let the hate flow through you. This state we've talked about before. This state blows, right? Massachusetts, terrible state, right? I found out the other day that you cannot wager on the Olympics in the state of Massachusetts on legal sports books.
Oh, they didn't approve it?
So the problem was, I've never met this guy, but shout out to his name is Billy Ho. I know that's a play on Billy Horschel, like that's his nickname, but like he's like a YouTube guy who does like sports betting. He has like a sports betting show. Somehow, I have no idea, but I got a random invitation to one of his like DraftKings DFS golf things, league event. I don't know. It's a DFS thing. It's a weekly DFS thing. Like over a year ago, I've been playing in this guy's weekly DFS pool for over a year. So every week on Monday, I get the notification email. Oh, Billy Ho Sports has invited you to this week, whatever, right? It's just every week I've been playing. Sometimes I win, so when I typically in that, if you come, I think the first place is like $60, second's like 30, and then I think third is like 10 or whatever, 12 maybe. But sometimes I win, sometimes I don't, whatever. It doesn't matter. So this week on Monday, I get the notification that I get every week. You got the invitation to Billy Ho Sports, golf DFS pool, whatever. Click the link, go to enter my lineup for this week. I get an error message. It says your account is restricted. So I'm like, oh, that's weird. So I click on the thing to that says see what this means. And I click on it and it gives you like explanations of why your account might be restricted. And it says you may be considered no longer a beginner. There might be other sort of restrictions, like if you've done something, you've completed something or something. There was something weird. And I go, are you shitting me? Because this past weekend, I cleaned up on DraftKings DFS because I had Johnny Vegas in I think I did 4 lineups, and I think 3 out of the 4 I had Johnny Vegas. And I also had Taylor Pendrith and Sahith. So I crushed. I think I won $85 cumulative in playing $2 game here, $3 game there, right? Like the Billy Ho Sports one is usually like a $2 or $3 a week pool, right? Like it's nothing crazy. So again, $3 a week, whatever. If you win first place, you win $60. But so I won I think it was almost roughly call it $90, right? This weekend, in 3 events, 2 or 3 events. So I was like, are you shitting me? I won 3 out of my 4 events, or I won money, right? I didn't come in first in all of them, but I won money in 3 out of my 4 events. And now DraftKings is going to lock me out. That's what we're doing. So I click on the help center button, and obviously it's automated, right? And I'm like, I'm not doing this. And then finally they're like, would you like to speak to a live agent? Please type live agent. So I type in live agent and I get to somebody and I go, hey, I've been entering this DFS golf thing for over a year now. And like, I can't, I don't know what it says. I'm restricted. I don't know what's going on. So the guy goes, all right, give me a second. And he comes back and he goes, are you in Massachusetts? And I was like, yeah. He goes, I geotagged you and you're in Mass, right? Like that's where you live. Like he confirmed, like that's, yeah, yeah. And I go, yep, I'm in Massachusetts. And he goes, is the event this week the Olympics you're trying to bet on? And I was like, it sure is. And he goes, yeah, Massachusetts doesn't allow you to bet on the Olympics. So you can't do that. So I was like, oh, sick. So looks like I'm not going to be in the weekly DFS pool that I've been in.
This was going to be the week.
Yeah, this was going to be the week. I had the lineup ready to go.
Yeah, that was going to be the one.
Yeah. So, but it's just another reason why the state sucks, right? Is that they just won't allow you to bet on anything in the Olympics. Like, how dumb is that?
Yeah, so I guess that means they didn't approve it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't watched the Olympics. I know you said you haven't either. I probably won't. Like, I don't have a reason to watch. But that doesn't mean I still can't bet on it. But apparently I can't because, again, Massachusetts is dumb. And the guy told me, forget his name. I think it was Andrew. He was like, yeah, if you go to literally any other state that you border, because he was like, I can't see where you are in Massachusetts, but I just get the tag that you're in Massachusetts. He goes, if you go into any bordering state, you'll be able to wager. And I
Well,
was like,
sir, that's great
sick.
advice, except the closest state to me only has one sports book, and it
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I could go to Rhode Island and do DFS, right? But I couldn't. But
Oh,
I can't.
okay. It's not in the
Yeah.
sport. Oh,
So I
that's
can't. I
right.
can't go to Rhode Island to bet on
In
DraftKings
getting the
Sportsbook
sports book.
because Rhode Island has the monopoly on their thing. But I could go to Rhode Island to you go join the DFS contest.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of establishments in Pawtucket that you would really like to go to.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, I went to do that drive again. It's really nice. Really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
I actually like that doing it this year. It seemed like they're starting to like try to make some of the buildings look nicer. And I'm like,
Why
I
bother?
mean, yeah, again, you can polish a turd, but
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah. Good luck trying to bet on anything in Massachusetts. Can't even get that right. It's like, you know how much money they missed out on by not allowing people to bet on the Olympics?
well, so
It's
that's the
just
thing
it's
is
just
like,
stupid.
unfortunately, it isn't just about money because if it was, they would legalize political betting.
Right.
And I already, it's so funny too because you think of the arguments like political betting. It's like, oh well, it might make politics corrupt.
Imagine that, huh?
Wow, as if they're not already.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of politics, quick little bit here that I think is interesting that I found out today as I was reading through Roca News. Um, President Biden wants to create an amendment to the Constitution that would remove presidential immunity. So there's a couple things actually. Let me get through all of them. So one of the things he announced is he wants to pass an amendment, right, that would remove officially presidential immunity. He also wants to enact term limits on the Supreme Court, which would be 18 years. And then he also wants to introduce like a code of conduct, like rules and regulations type of thing, where like the Supreme Court needs to disclose any gifts or anything that they're like given or a part of or something like that, right? So he announces all this. He allegedly, who knows if he's even still alive. Uh, um, so he puts this out, right? And so the first thing, presidential immunity. Number one, um, that is basically just directing an attack towards Donald Trump because they already tried to get Trump for stuff. And the Supreme Court ruled that he had presidential immunity for official acts, right? Official acts in the presidential office. They said it doesn't cover everything, right? Despite what people on Twitter were saying, oh, so that means Biden can just drone strike him. Yeah. No, it's not an official act of the office, but you have immunity for official acts in the office, right? So number one, that's just trying to go back at Trump, right? Number
Correct,
two,
because no president should ever want to get rid of that.
because number two, if that happens, every single president that is still alive can be tried and sent to jail because every single president has done something where it was something heinous, right? Like Barack Obama, they all Republicans love to go back to that. Oh, Obama drone striked everyone. Drone struck, striked, drone
Drone
striked,
stricken.
drone, yeah, drone stricken, uh, and killed American citizens, right? So he could be tried for that. If presidential immunity is removed, he could then theoretically be tried for that. You can try George Bush for, oh, I guess they didn't really have weapons of mass destruction, right? Like they found that out. They lied, right? Like that was the whole thing. They found out later on that Colin Powell lied when he gave that speech holding the vial of fucking powder. Like he knew it wasn't anthrax, right? And it was like, okay, so you guys blatantly lied to get us into the war. I mean, he's dead now, so he can't go to jail. But like, you could try any president that's still alive for war crimes, right? So bad idea, really, really bad idea. Um, it's just dumb. It's just stupid, right? Number three on that, it is impossible to accomplish because in order to pass an amendment, right, in of to the Constitution of the United States. Let me read to you. Let me just pull this up really quick from Roca. Um, Passing a constitutional amendment requires securing 2/3 support in both chambers of Congress and then approval from 75% of state legislatures. So you need 2/3 of the Senate, right, which is 67. You need 67 people to agree with you in the Senate. You need, I don't know, whatever 2/3 of like 430 is, 288, right? And then you need 75% of all state legislatures to agree there. So that's whatever 75% of 50 is. That's 38 states. That is impossible. In this day and age, to get 2/3 support in both houses of Congress and then 38 states to agree to something, that's stupid. So all this was to just rile people up, right? All it was just to create a talking point. He knew, well, again, maybe he doesn't because he also may not be alive. But Democrats know that there's no way that you're going to pass an amendment for this. Like, that's absurd. A constitutional amendment, that's so incredibly difficult to do. Again, especially in today's political climate, right? And then number four, it is, along with the following two things that I mentioned, kind of a direct attack against the Supreme Court, right? So I'm a little pissy about this because, again, I'm on record. The Supreme Court is my favorite branch of government because they're the only branch that does their job effectively, by making other people do their job. Right? Like their job is to make sure other people do their job correctly.
There's
So
term limits and what else?
so then he wanted to impose a term limit, an 18-year term limit, and then a code of conduct where like they're mandated to report like anything that they receive, right? Whether it's a car or a vacation or a book or something, right? Like if they're given anything as a gift, they need to report it.
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with that one too, right?
Well, I have one condition.
However, I also have one condition. Let's hear yours first because it's probably the same as mine.
Every congressperson,
Yes, 100%.
senator,
Yep, we're on the same page.
president, and cabinet member
Yep.
has to agree to the same thing.
Everybody in the federal, well, not everyone in the federal government, because that includes like FBI and all the agencies, but
Yeah, the
everyone,
department heads or the
right?
agency heads.
Every agency head,
Actually,
right?
I'll simplify it. If you're in the line of succession for the presidency, or if you are a congressperson or
Right.
senator, I believe those are technically different. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're a legislator,
Yeah.
uh, then yeah, you too. And then I'm
Yep.
in.
Everybody.
Everyone.
The easier way to say that, all three branches of the government. All
In.
three branches of the government
Yep.
should have to report
Sure
any sort
should.
of gift or thing. Yeah. So I'm
I'm good.
100% behind you on
I'm
that
actually
one.
good with the term limits too. But
Yeah.
again, it's everyone.
Right. Right. Again, same page, 100% same page. We didn't talk about this beforehand either.
Nope.
So I am all on board with the term limits. Again, provided it's term limits across the board.
Yep.
Right.
Just make it for everyone, and then I'm in.
Yeah.
Don't single out the Supreme Court because they're not telling you what you like because you have failed
Right.
at your fucking job.
Right. So
Because
effectively
he was a
kind of,
senator, so I can right. He was a senator.
yeah. Yeah.
He was a senator, so at one point he could have introduced legislation for all of these things, and
Right.
he didn't do it either. So they're all at fucking fault, and they're trying to blame the Supreme Court for it.
Right. Right. So in a way, this is kind of like the executive branch, right? Because that is the president, is like trying to like bully and fuck with the Supreme Court, like another branch of government, which again, that's not how this works. That's
Yeah.
not
So
how the
the other
founding
thing
fathers wanted this to work. Like
we
you
also
don't get to you don't get to enact term limits only for the Supreme Court. You don't get to enact disclosure laws only for the Supreme Court, right? And you don't get to overturn a presidential immunity thing that the Supreme Court happened to already rule on. Like those
so that
are
was my
three actions to directly fuck with the Supreme Court.
my other point. That was gonna be my other point too. Was it's not going to be retroactive. It's only going to be going forward. So,
I mean, you would think that, but who knows?
dude, it's no because you will get what they'll do is the Republicans like because what they'll try to do is they'll try to get Trump on. Oh, your immunity's gone, going back. It's like no, it sounds like almost kind of like double jeopardy, but like because if you did something that wasn't illegal at the time and it's illegal later, they can't go back on that. But it would be like if weed was legal today, so you do a bunch of it, and then it's illegal tomorrow, and then they try to get you for what you did yesterday. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Because then what you'll see is the Republicans will then pick and choose, and they'll go after Obama, and it'll be a big fucking thing.
Right.
And they'll do it.
Right.
And then, don't look at the guy behind the fucking curtain. It's like just using that to like smoke screen whatever they're actually trying to do.
Right. Right.
But either way, I mean that doesn't make any fucking sense. The other piece too, which people don't like, is everyone's like, "Oh my God, can you believe what Biden wants to do?" I look at it like, let's take about 10% off the top. He's just trying to campaign on behalf of the Democrats.
Right.
Now, it's probably going to be Harris, fine. But he's just introducing that. Like, let me put this into the ether, right?
Right.
So the Democrats will get behind the Democratic Party. And it's like in one of those things. I don't think he actually wants to do any of this shit.
I don't think he really knows where he is, but
And that's part of it, right?
it's a built-in excuse for him to, to your point, right? I don't think he really wants to do any of it because
What does he care?
I don't think he knows where he is half the
He's
time.
probably the earliest lame duck we've ever had.
He's been a lame duck for fucking 2 years.
Yeah. So that's the other piece too. It's like someone in the Democratic Party is just trying to piss off a bunch of Republicans and trying to get the Democrats to get behind their party.
Yeah, they need something to rally behind.
Yeah, and they're hoping the
prior to the
Republicans will say
election.
something stupid,
Right,
and
which they usually do.
See,
Yeah.
this is what happens when
They
we
want to
try
take
to
away all your
introduce
rights.
anything.
The Republicans want to take away all your rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. They didn't take away any rights in 2016 or 17
Yeah, but it's going to be different this time.
or 18 or 19.
Yeah, but the balance of democracy, or I'm sorry, the democracy is in the balance, right? Like the survival of democracy is hanging in the balance on this election.
Yeah.
Because this time is different. If Trump wins this time,
right.
then he's really gonna make gay marriage illegal, and then he's gonna kill gay people for no reason, just like they do in, where is that again? Oh, Palestine. Yeah, that's right. And most of places in the Middle East where they hate gay people. Yeah, but you love that place so much that you parade around holding flags and stuff and burn American flags. But yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, not really sure you put the logical, line dots. You've connected those logical dots there. But yeah, no, this time is different. This time, if Trump gets elected, then abortion is going to be completely illegal. It doesn't matter that he's come out and said that it should be a states' rights issue, because he's going to change his mind. He's lying. He's going to change it. And women's reproductive rights are on the line. And gay marriage that's been fucking legal in this country since 2003 under a Republican president. Yeah, no, it hangs in the balance. Yep. Here we go. Your entire life is hanging in the balance. It's going to change. You're going to be hung in the streets, right? Hung from the lampposts.
Yeah, it's like it's 1945 fascist Italy.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, do you guys really fucking believe this? Like, do you guys really think that that's going to fucking happen?
Yeah, like read a fucking book, will you?
Yeah. But
I
truthfully, I think some of these people do. I think a lot of people do believe it.
These people are stupid, dude.
Which is fucking
really stupid.
Insane.
I do wish Trump would get up there because I think he's enough of a dickhead to do it. And he goes, all right, I'm going to introduce some legislation too. It's going to be like, you know what? If you want to like root for Palestine, you want to replace an American flag with a Palestinian flag. Well, actually, you know what? Go ahead. Please do. Free speech, whatever. Go nuts. And in return, I'll get you a one-way ticket, non-refundable, non-choice. You can go right to Palestine too. And you can stay there.
Yeah.
If you like it so much.
Yeah. Yeah, this was pretty fucking hilarious. I don't know a ton really about international politics, but from the little bit I do know, just from like listening to podcasts or whatever, Bibi Netanyahu is kind of a piece of shit, right? He's a scumbag, war criminal, like not great, right? Prime Minister.
Person? Is that a thing?
Yeah, his name is Benjamin something. His middle name starts with a B. So people call him BB. It's like Benjamin Button.
Oh my God. I thought
Benjamin
that was like
Button Netanyahu. He's the prime minister of Israel.
I thought that was like
so he came to the US and like addressed Congress like last week or the week before or whatever. And again, he's a real piece of shit.
Is that when everyone went crazy? Is that why everyone went crazy?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So the one thing I will say, I gotta get, again, I call it as I see it, right? Like, again, I'm not familiar with international politics. I know we talked about it. The Middle East has literally been at war for quite literally, again, just to make my point across. I'll say the word literally one more time. Thousands of years, right? Thousands of years they've been fighting. So take that for what it's worth. Um, but he addressed Congress like last week, and he made a joke, and he said like, yeah, all these people standing outside holding signs that say "Gays for Palestine." He goes, I'm not sure they really understand what that means. And he goes, that's like the equivalent of chickens holding up signs that say "Chickens for Chick-fil-A," right, or something like that. And it's like,
KFC, whatever.
yeah, that's what it was for KFC, right? Chickens for KFC. That was the line. And I was like, yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty fucking good. Like, that's a good line. Again, piece of shit guy from what I understand, right? I don't know much, but apparently he's not very liked. Um, and but that was a pretty good line, right? Because it's true. Like, these people have no idea. You hold up a sign for Gays for Palestine. Okay, here's your ticket. I'll pay for your ticket. I'll pay for your plane ticket to go over there. Have fun. Good luck. I'll never see you again.
Yeah,
Because over there, they will hang you from the
they'll
light
fucking kill
post,
you.
right? Like, they like that will happen. They do that shit over there. They will throw you off the roof. They will hang you from the light post. They will cut your fucking head off. Like, they will do whatever they need to do to make sure that you are not on this earth, right? But yeah, no, if Donald Trump wins the election, ooh man, yeah, it's coming here. They're gonna do that here.
Yeah, what is it? Sharia law?
Yeah, yeah,
Is that what
yeah,
like Iran has, or what, or
yeah.
Iraq or whatever?
Yep, yep, yeah. So good fucking luck. On that note, you want to wrap this up?
We can wrap this up.
All right. What do you got?
Uh, so still got this honeymoon in our future.
You
Uh,
do.
so I kicked around the idea. I don't know how long this is gonna last. I kicked around the idea of actually trying to like learn some Italian. Maybe.
Should have
Now I
focused
took,
more on the Romansh.
yeah. Now, problem is, I took Italian.
Yeah.
Definitely sixth grade, maybe fifth. I actually don't remember if we did it that early. I think the public schools
We did in public
definite.
school. Yeah.
Did you start in second or was it fifth?
Fourth. We started in fourth grade. We took
Okay.
Italian because
So
I took
public school,
Italian fourth, fifth. And then when I got to middle school, I did Spanish. So I took Spanish from sixth grade through sophomore year of high school
okay,
because
because
I was a
I didn't
nerd.
go to public. I went to a Catholic school and on through sixth grade. I
Yeah.
know we did it in sixth. I want to say we did it in fifth, or maybe we did like 1/4 of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, regardless. So I took it in sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, tenth. So at least 5 years of Italian
You
in
took Italian
school.
in high school?
Yeah. I just got to it and it was just Italian three because you took
Yeah.
Italian one in eighth grade and you only needed to get to three because Italian four was
Honors. It was the
honors
same thing with
only.
Spanish. So like
Yeah, it was
I
honors only. There was no standard.
with Spanish might have been a little bit different just because it was more popular, but like we had to take a test in eighth grade, and I tested into Spanish two. So my freshman year, I started with Spanish two, and then sophomore year, I took Spanish three, and then after like once you got through three, then I
The
got to my
requirement
junior
was
year.
done.
I was yeah, like I was just saying, I was a nerd, and I doubled up on science on my junior and senior year. So I took anatomy and chemistry. No,
I don't know what I took as a junior because I definitely
anatomy and
took
physics. I think I
so I
took
took
anatomy and physics as a junior, and then I took AP bio, and I might have been in AP physics too.
yuck.
I might have done both.
Yuck.
I just remember I took two sciences both junior and senior year.
See, I don't remember what I took. Okay,
Psychology? Maybe
so
it
what
was
was
psychology.
I didn't take psychology either. What the fuck did I take? Okay, because I know I took freshman year, I definitely took biology, which means I definitely took chemistry as a sophomore, and I definitely took physics as a junior.
Right. I think that was the required, right? Well, there was that there was the other way. You could have taken like environmental science your freshman year and then
I took that my senior year.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that answers that. I took environmental and anatomy as a senior. I didn't take anatomy as a junior.
Yeah.
That checks out because there were juniors in my class. Okay, so that
Yeah.
answers. Okay, so what the fuck did I take as a real class as a junior? Because if I took physics, I wouldn't have taken two math, so I only took one math,
Yeah.
one English, one history.
Maybe it was physics 1 and 2. Did we have a physics 1 and 2?
No, it was physics and
Or
AP.
intro to physics? No.
No,
I
it
feel
was
like there were two different
definitely.
physics class. Like the
Oh, there
weird
might have
like
been
the
there might
the
have been like
other
retard
track.
physics.
Yeah, like the
Like
retard
how there
track.
was like algebra and trig was like retard algebra.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There was probably something because you need like because if someone like really bombed out
Yeah.
in because it would have been earth science as a freshman if you like bombed out, or it would have been earth science, then it would have been biology, then it would have been chemistry.
Yeah.
Oh, but then you're a senior, so then you have environmental if you want to phone it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that would have been. But yeah, I don't think there was stupid person physics.
Yeah. Okay.
Physics is too hard, dude.
Well, I think physics 2 was AP. Like I feel like you had to take physics,
Yeah,
the
you couldn't
regular
just take
physics
AP
class before
physics.
you took AP
Yeah,
physics.
you had to take regular.
Yeah. So maybe that's what I did. I have no fucking clue.
I
But
have
I
no
know
clue
I
either.
didn't take I took a bunch of fucking nerd classes my senior
Anyway,
year.
moral of the story is
Yeah.
I did not get to Italian 4. I was like, I'm not doing
Yeah.
this. But like, dude, not for nothing. It's like I'd sit there and I'd be like, listen, I'm passing these classes probably like A's and B's, and I'm like, I cannot fucking speak this language. I'm like, why am I gonna put myself through this? And I go, I already know who the teacher is,
Right.
and she already told us in Italian 4, she goes, I do not speak English. I go, fuck.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing as a fucking genius fucking 17-year-old. Like I'd be sitting there in Italian class, be like I would just be like speaking English, like no in Italiano. I go nope,
Yeah.
and it's like I go I don't know how to ask like what I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Oh,
ask.
me scusi.
And she goes, "What are you trying to ask?" And I would say it, and she would be like, her wheels would be turning because it would be like such a fucking weird question.
Yeah.
Now, could I have asked a question in a normal way? Yeah, absolutely. But like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, or would be like, "What'd you do this weekend?" It's like I could have easily lied and said like,
I
I
played
went
golf.
to, yeah, I went to the driving range or I
Right.
went to play golf, and it's like, it's winter. It's like, the practice golf, whatever.
Yeah. It's like
Like,
yo fui a la golf course,
it
right?
would be
Like,
like, no, I decided that I was gonna go to, uh, whatever. And I would just like make it so fucking complicated and she wouldn't be able to like translate it very easily, right? Because it
yeah.
would be like a
Yeah.
super like American thing.
Yeah.
Or she'd be like, well, like, the quiet answer is like, I'm like, I don't know how to say it. And she'd be like, well, like in Italiano, I go, I can't. And she'd be like, well, what are you saying? And then I would pick like this smoke, I would pick like a super fucking like a super local idiom or something, or like slang.
Yeah.
And it's like, there is no translation for this. You're just being a dick.
Yeah.
So we did we did go to her aunt and uncle's house this weekend, and they go to Italy. I don't know if it's annually or it's frequently. Like they're
Yeah.
there often. Um, they're also older and retired and all that shit. And they did say like plenty of people will speak English. Like you're
Yeah.
going to the touristy spots. Like,
Right.
I mean, her uncle was like, yeah, you want to know these three phrases. And this is the only thing that like gave me hope. He goes, Dove el baño. I go, where's the bathroom? And he's
Yeah.
like, voglio un biaccarete di vino e rosso e bianco. I'm like, okay, I want wine, red or white's good.
Right. Right.
And then it was like something something mi sono persa. I go, I don't know, something something. I am what? He goes, I'm lost. Help me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I can piece this somewhat,
Right.
but I'm like,
Right.
I'm never gonna be able to speak this fucking language. So they did mention it's like, okay, so download because you can do Google
You can
Translate. You can
Google. I was
actually
just gonna say you just talk
and you
into
can
your phone and your
and you
phone
can
will speak it.
and they said download it because then you won't be like needing Wi-Fi to make sure it works.
Right. 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 Right.
And yes, it will speak into it, it'll listen, and Google Translate will probably get the job done most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Uh, and then they also mentioned like, oh yeah, I've messed around on like Duolingo before. And I'm
Right.
like, I've heard of that
Yeah.
too.
We could
Uh,
get them to sponsor the show.
hey, listen, I downloaded it yesterday, or I made an account yesterday. I didn't download shit.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was going through it, and I mean, if we were giving myself a letter grade, we're talking like probably an A minus. Like I was like ripping off these things.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
thing is, like, I can still pronounce the words. Like, I do remember how to do that. So I did
Right.
learn something, despite being a fucking prick about it. So like being able to pronounce the words and read the words and like I can still do that. I don't remember what most of the words are. And like not for nothing, it's like that was yesterday, and I already like kind of forgot
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
some of the shit. So I'm like, fuck, can I really do it? I don't even know. So we're gonna see. But I have a Duolingo account. We're gonna see how that goes.
Yeah.
I also
All
might
right.
just log in and be like, because again, I can speak it. Like that part I can do. But like I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm like, the thing's like not hearing me. I go, fuck this. I don't have time for this shit. Can't talk right now. It goes, okay, well, we'll mute your microphone for 15 minutes. It's like, great. This thing takes me like fucking 4. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. That being said, I haven't logged in today. So
Maybe
that one
tomorrow.
that one day, I mean, the night's still young, I guess.
Yeah.
That one day streak might be in trouble.
Oh man, that's pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be super difficult. Like the thing is, you probably just need to know enough to get by, right? It's not like you need to sit there and have a conversation with someone in Italian. You just kind of need to be
No,
able to like not be a lost fucking
that's
bumbling
kind of what I
idiot.
mean is like I just need to be able to like almost ask simple questions,
Yeah.
order food at a restaurant. Because like other than that, like a lot of our shit is taken care of for us, like English
Right.
speaking tour guides and
Right.
private transportation. Uh Again, I can generally like read it and kind of put it together.
Yeah.
Generally. So it's like, yeah, making sure you get on the right train, I guess, but
Yeah. I
usually you
feel
need a
like
ticket.
reading is a lot easier, at least for me when
Oh,
it
it's
comes to
way easier, dude.
Spanish.
It's
Like
way
if
easier.
I see the words, I know what it is, right? Like again, like you did however many years of Italian, I did what 5 years of Spanish. So like if I see the words, like I can figure out what it is. But like if someone is talking, I'm like, oh, I have no
It's way
fucking clue. I
different.
have no fucking clue what you just said.
Yeah, hearing it is quite
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
And then never mind where it's a new conversation that I'm not getting into, but then you have dialects and slang
Right.
and
Right.
accents. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Right. Especially with Spanish, because I think in school we learned like Barcelona Spanish, right? But then there's, you know, Mexican Spanish, there's South American Spanish.
I was say Barcelona also is a special type.
Yeah, I think it's Catalonian, right? It's
I
like
think Catalonia might be its own thing, but even Barcelona, like Barcelona is like they have odd pronunciations.
Barcelona. their S, they have a lisp when they talk. They don't say
Yeah, they do.
S's. They, yeah, yeah,
And Z's are THs.
right, right. Olazabal, Jose Maria Olazabal.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I know the Italian they taught in school was like a Florentine, but
yeah.
again, like the thing shit though, like if someone from the South in like a real Southern accent,
Yeah.
like the fucking coach from the Waterboy, starts talking, like, dude, I don't even know what they're saying,
Yeah, yeah.
let alone a fucking language I don't speak.
Right, right.
We'll see. I got to at least probably get to 2 days. I think even I can do that.
All right. So my final thought is just completely random out of nowhere, as final thoughts typically are. Um, but so I got salmon for dinner tonight. So as I was cooking it, eating it, whatever, yeah, this is great, whatever. I like, salmon's good, right? Yeah, salmon good.
I fucking hate
Um,
salmon.
real really.
I don't
That's
like
funny.
salmon. I just honestly, I just don't like the taste of salmon.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. So maybe my final thought doesn't apply to you, but I was sitting there as I'm eating it. I'm like, this is good, right? And I'm like, I like salmon. I love tuna, right? So let me specify. I like tuna steaks. Like I like fresh tuna and I like sushi tuna. I do
Oh,
not like,
so you like the stuff in the can. Got
I
it.
do not like tuna in a can, right? I just cannot get beyond tuna in a can. I don't know what it is. Don't know why. I just can't do it,
Well,
right?
it's because it tastes like shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, is whitefish useless, right? Because tuna and salmon are both red fish, right? So I'm sitting there being like, is there a whitefish that I actually like enjoy? Right. And the only thing I could come up with was haddock, right? Like I don't hate haddock, but at the same time, if I go to a restaurant that's not like you know, a fried seafood restaurant, because then I'll get like the combo plate where it's like fried haddock, scallops, and whatever else they're gonna fry or whatever they're gonna do. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the haddock. I'm gonna get the baked haddock, right? But like sometimes I'll go somewhere and be like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get that fucking salmon. Like I'm gonna get like that mango habanero salmon or something that's on like the menu. Like that's something that like I'll go and get or get you. A lot of times the places will do see like the seared ahi tuna, right? Where they just sear all sides and then they slice it up so that like the inside of it is raw, but it's like cooked on the outside. Hey, is that what seared means, dumbass? But and I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I don't think there's a whitefish that I would be like, yeah, I'm really in the mood for some haddock, right? Or like some cod or fucking, like there
So
just
I think
doesn't.
that there's almost like two things there. One, I am never in the mood for this shit. Like it is like for me to be in the mood for fish, I need to go to a restaurant and then have a dish that like talks to me.
Yeah.
So we were down in Naples, somewhere on the water, and they had a red snapper special. I got that. That was good.
Yeah.
The other day we went to Legals in Dedham. I got a swordfish something
Also redfish. So I think swordfish is a redfish.
dark, whatever. It ain't
Yeah.
whitefish.
Yeah. In my
Um,
mind, if it's not whitefish, it's redfish, right? Whatever, if you want to call it dark fish,
what
whatever.
about a bluefish?
Yeah. Oh wow, bluefin tuna.
I think bluefish is white.
Yeah.
Um, when we were down the Cape, there was one day where they were like, "Oh, do you want to hear the specials?" I go, "Lay it on me." It was like some pistachio crusted baked, probably a haddock.
Yeah.
That was pretty fucking good. I was actually pretty happy with my decision to get that. But so am I ever like sitting there being like, man, really in the mood for X? No, I'm never in the mood for a like cut of fish. I really like shellfish, and calamari is not a shellfish, but I like calamari too.
Yeah, calamari is good. Um,
But like all the shellfishes and calamari, I'm in on. Now, to answer your question in a different way, are there any whitefish that are fucking worth a shit? I've had Chilean sea bass. That's pretty fucking good.
okay.
I know you can do things with halibut. I haven't had a lot of halibut. When we went to the tasting at the wedding, I don't think the halibut was very good, but I don't think it was prepared very good
Right. Right.
because it almost seemed like slimy.
Yeah.
Um, but that's I so again, it's like with fish, it's like I don't know, dude. Like I'm never gonna sit there and be like, I really interested in I sitting at home and I go, I could go for a baked haddock right now. Like or a nice scrod.
Yeah. Yeah, never. So to be fair, I also never do that. Again, I will eat. Like if I'm in a restaurant, again, if someone wants to make me a baked haddock, sure, I'm gonna eat it, right? Because it's probably gonna be good. Especially most of the time when people make haddock, they just cover it in fucking Ritz crackers or they fry it, right?
Right.
So like, yeah, sure, it's gonna be fine. But with salmon and tuna, I do get that, right? Where occasionally I'll be like, man, I could go for some fucking salmon. Or like I can go for like a nice fucking tuna steak. Like I do occasionally get that, but I never, like you said, I never sit there and go, yeah, I can go for some scrod, right? Or I could
Yeah.
really go for some halibut today. Like, no, it's not a thing.
Nope. Not for me.
Yeah. So I think whitefish is mostly useless. Again, haddock is is a pass. That's I'll give that a thumbs up.
Yeah,
I've
but
never
haddock and
had it.
cod are effectively the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take your word on the Chilean sea
Chilean
bass.
sea
Like I said,
bass is
I've
good,
never
but
had it, but
that's
I'm sure
also going
it's
to be like
good.
a premium thing. So it's like you're not going to
Right.
buy Chilean sea bass yourself.
It's like getting in my mind, that's like getting like a Wagyu steak, right? Like you're gonna get Chilean sea bass at a restaurant, and
Yeah,
that's it.
like someone who knows what they're doing. Let
Right.
them cook it.
Right. Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you don't cook it right, it's basically just an
Yeah.
expensive cod.
Exactly. I'm not like again, I wouldn't buy a Chilean sea bass to cook it. I wouldn't buy a Wagyu steak to
No,
cook it myself.
someone
Like
else can do it.
I someone else can do it. Someone who's a professional can do that for me. Right. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Redfish is better than whitefish.
Red
Uh
snapper's really fucking good.
yeah,
There's a woman that trains at the gym from Senegal, and she was like, hands down favorite fish, red snapper. And then I had it probably like a month later.
yeah,
That was a
very
good
good.
recommendation.
Yeah. All right. I'll have to keep an eye out. All right. So that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're an audio only guy as well. Leave us 5 stars on Spotify and iTunes. That would be much appreciated. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm_Speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. The website is sarcasmspeaks.com. Check out the show notes below. Support us, support the sponsors, get some cool stuff along the way. And yeah, until next time, good night, everybody.